Hello everyone. In this video, I would like to take a look at how we evaluate a function. So evaluate a function, all that means is we're going to use our function rule and we're going to figure out the result for a specific value or another expression for our variable. So on the screen I have an example. It says for the function f defined by f of x is equal to x squared plus 8x minus 24. And I have a couple different ones that I want to find. So the first one, I want to find f of negative 2. So this notation, what this means is I want to know what the result is when I use my function and instead of x, I'm going to use negative 2. What do we end up with? So to do this, all we're going to do is in our original function, since it's a function with the variable x, wherever we see an x inside this function, we are going to replace that with negative 2. So we end up with here, so this is equal to. Okay, and I do have a negative, so I'm going to be careful. I'm going to use my parentheses. Negative 2 squared plus 8 times negative 2, and then we have minus 24. No variable in that one, so we don't have to change it. And now we can continue simplifying, and when we end up with just one number, that will be our answer. So negative 2 squared, that's going to be a positive 4. 8 times negative 2 is going to be minus 16. And then again, we have a minus 24. And if I combine all these terms together, 4 minus 16, that's going to be a negative 12. And then negative 12 minus another 24, we end up at negative 36. So this is f of negative 2 is negative 36. So what that means is for this specific rule, for this specific function, when I use negative 2 or at this location, my value is negative 36. All right, let's move on to the next one. Now in the next one, I do have a variable in here, but that's okay. We're still going to do the same exact thing. All this is telling us is use our rule for this expression. So what do we end up with when this gets replaced for x? So then this is going to be equal to, so inside x squared here, we're going to do 3n squared. Again, I'm using my parentheses because I do want to square that entire thing. And then plus 8 times 3n. And then we have the minus 24. And just like we did in the first one, we're going to simplify this as much as we can. So 3n squared, this is the same as 3n times itself. So 3 times 3 is 9, and then n times n is n squared. In the middle, 8 times 3 is 24. And lastly, we have our minus 24. And that's it. We have no more like terms. This is as simple as it gets. So our result, f of 3n, is equal to that expression. Okay, and the last one, it's another one with a couple more variables. It has a couple more variables, and it is a binomial inside my function. Again, same process. The only thing that's different in this case is we are going to have a little bit of extra algebra to do. So this entire thing is going to get plugged in for x. So inside parentheses, we have x plus h squared. And then instead of x here, we have 8 times x plus h. And we have our minus 24. And now we can do some simplifying. So first we have a binomial squared. Now it's really important to remember that this is the same as x plus h times x plus h. And maybe I'll just make a little note of that over on the side. So x plus h squared, this is the same as x plus h times itself. So we do need to multiply this all out. After you've done quite a few of these, you do get pretty used to it, and they follow a specific pattern. And what we end up with is x times x is x squared. In the middle, we have x times h, and then there's two of those. So 2xh, and then h times h plus h squared. Our middle term, we'll use the distributive property. So we have plus 8x and plus 8h. And lastly, we have our 24. Double checking this, it does not look like we have any like terms, so we can't simplify this anymore. So our result, our function, after we use our function rule, our function for x plus h is this big long expression. So overall, whether we have just a number inside of our function, whether we have an expression, we can still evaluate a function to find the result.